Hi guys, it's Saturday in Scotland and you're watching Project Excellent, and this week our topic is the hardest things we've had to deal with. And for me, I've been kind of dreading this topic because I've never really spoke to anyone about what I'm going to tell you guys. I've never really spoke out loud about how I feel about it. And it basically was a three-year period of my life, and it started in 2007, and it was, I'll start anyway. In 2007, my grandpa became really unwell, and then he was in the hospital quite a few times, and we found out he had asbestosis or mesothelioma in his lungs, which is when asbestos gets in your lungs and you start to deteriorate, and it is horrible. He just got more unwell and unwell, and saying that now, I can see where he went downhill, but for me, I kind of put it to the back of my head and never really, I tried to play it off. And I remember the last time I went to see him, and do you know, there was times during that day that there was times during that day that I knew that he was so unwell, but we reminisced about times we had. Anyway, I didn't know that was going to be the last time I saw him, and I said to him that I would go up and sing. I said I'd go and say goodbye to him, and I never did. Anyway, I remember I think it was a week later, and I was at work, and I got a voicemail from my dad saying that he died, and I tried to carry on at work. I tried to carry on at work that day, and I couldn't. I was crying. The girls, I never told anyone what had happened, and it eventually got sent home from work because I couldn't control the tears. And it was the first time I'd ever had someone close to me die. So I cried all the way home in the train. So embarrassing. I even remember one guy asking me if I was okay, and it was really hard for me. Anyway, so that was the start of all. Then in 2008, I went to my aunt's with it was her wedding. She had had cancer, and she'd fought it and been told that she was going to be fine, and so she was recovering, and in 2008 she had her wedding, and she hadn't been too well, but there was complications during her surgery, and she just said that was what it was. And so she got married in September 2000. No, it was 2007 she got married. And that was September 2007. And I remember that like it was yesterday. And then the day after her wedding, she had all the family over. And my sister stayed with my aunt. And she'd been staying with her for a few years, and the day after her wedding, she got all the family together for a big lunch, and she decided to tell us that she got the news that it was She had the cancer, was back, and it was terminal. And I just remember that day, and all I could do was make sure everyone else was fine, make sure everyone else had tea, and ask if anyone wanted tea and coffee. I just remember it like that. Anyway, in 2008, she died after. It was in May of 2008, and I really looked up to her. She was such an inspiration to me, and I love her so much, and I miss her so much. But anyway, so that was like 2 years in a row I'd lost someone in my immediate family, and I was finding things really hard to cope with. And then this was my grandpa from my dad's side and my aunt from my mum's side. Then in 2000, we'd had quite a good, as we call it, quite a nice streak with nobody, because at this time we just felt that, sorry, I had to get a tissue. Okay, so at this time, well, things had been going okay, I mean, as well as they could go after you'd lost 2 people, and when we found out, well, when my aunt died, her husband then was not quite who we thought he was. He kicked my sister out the house the day I think the day she died. They kicked her out, and he wasn't who we thought it was anyway, because actually my sister began to reveal things that had happened, and the way he was, and how he wasn't who he thought who he was. Anyway, that doesn't come into this. So the months go on, and then the start of 2009, my gran had been fine. I mean, she'd been plodding along after my grandpa died for 2 years, and she had been kind of unwell with the cold or the flu or something, but then she'd kind of got up and she'd been out of bed, and we got her one of those little safety alarm things that you get for older people, because she was in the house on her own, you know, she was getting kind of like older, and one day the alarm went off, and I think she had fell, or no, she'd fell, and then she was having pains, and she'd managed to push her little alarm button thing, and my dad and mum went to the hospital. No, they came down and got her, and then she went to the hospital, and I just remember my mum phoning, and she told me that my gran had died, and I had to tell my brothers, and it was the most horrible thing ever. Whatever you do, if you've got to tell someone that somebody has died, don't do it over the phone, because it is horrible. It's never the way to do it. So, again, it just brought back, like, this was the 3rd year in a row we'd had no luck. We'd lost 3 members of our family, and it was just so hard. And I don't know if it was me, but I really feel like, even now, I mean, it's been a year, it's been like a year and a half, and it's nearly been 2 years actually, and I still kind of struggle to cope with it. I think about them all the time and every day. And it's really hard for me. But I don't want to say, I mean, there's been people who've died since, but no one like immediately close. But it's horrible to deal with it. And I think it was just really hard for me to deal with because it was like, it just seemed to be one after the other, and it was horrible. Anyway, so that was my hardest time, and I think this is going to be good for me because kind of talking about it is going to help. And I'm really sorry for crying and venting, and I promise I won't cry again. But I feel like I have to post this because if I don't, I'm kind of lying to myself. I'm sorry, and I will speak to you all next week with a kind of more light-hearted topic. I think I can't even remember what next week's topic is, but I promise I won't cry. Okay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.